Hello and welcome to Crochet Along with Hannah. I am at the Upper Chichester Library. Today's tutorial will be on hooking granny squares together. Last time we covered crocheting the granny square. If you missed that video, please feel free to go through the library's video log on our Facebook page. You should be able to scroll back and find that, along with all of our other Facebook programs. We have story time every Monday at 10:30 with Miss Pam, and following that we have Books and Babies, and then Miss Teresa also has a art program every other week. We are offering to-go kits for our craft videos as well as our crochet videos. I have a crochet kit here to show you in case you didn't see it, and these are free. It comes with everything you need to get started with crochet. It comes with a hook, a skein of yarn, a darning needle, some stitch markers, and some printout instructions on how to get started with crochet. Yeah, everything is. And the same thing with the art kits. The art kits are also free. They come with everything you need to complete the craft with the corresponding video that is available on Facebook. And if you do come by and pick up a to-go kit, feel free to take a picture of your finished project and either message it to our Facebook or email it to the director, and we will get it. We would love to see it. All right. Here I have 2 granny squares, right? This one is a little bit bigger. This is 4 rounds. I only have 3 rounds done of this one because we're going to use that 4th row as a border. You can do this for this joining method is going to be the join as you go method. I like this method. It makes it look all nice and neat and tidy. I'm going to show you 3 separate ways to hook these together. This is the crochet along, join as you go method, excuse me. Again, you'll see this one, this white square is noticeably longer than the turquoise. Or smaller, not longer. My words. So we're going to use that 4th row as a border. This one already has a 4th row. The border is done. Here I already started part of that 4th, and I am using a different color just so you'll be able to see the difference. I've crocheted up one side, and now I'm going to join in this square. I'm going to hold these together like this. I'm going to go in this corner. I'm going to slip stitch this together. And then I'm going to crochet 2 because this is a corner, and then I'm going to work 3 stitches in this corner to complete my corner. One, 2, 3, and that is that. And then to go to the next side, we are just I'm a little bit tangled, excuse me. We are going to take and slip stitch right into here, this next chain space. We're going to slip stitch. And to slip stitch, in case you don't know, you put your yarn in the hole, yarn over, pull through, like that. And then you're going to pull that loop right through that hook. You're not going to yarn over again like you would with a stitch, like a single crochet. And then you're going to just put a chain 1 in, and then do 3 double crochets think I'm crocheting a little too tight today. Excuse me. Okay, yeah, we're fine. Now, again, we are going to go in, slip stitch, and then begin our 3 double crochets in our white square. 1, 2, 3, and again, one more time, we are going to slip stitch in our first square. Ooh, I have too many turnovers. Like this, pull it through. And here is where it can be a little bit tricky because we are working a corner, and I wanted to show you how to do this so that you can finish your round, because I usually start by doing completing 1 row, crocheting my 2 squares together, and then I go down and then I finish my border. So before we hook these together, we want to crochet our first 3 double crochets of that corner. So you're going to pop those in there. 1, 2, 3. They look a little bit tight. All right, then you slip stitch into your first square, not the square you're working on, but the one that you're attaching it to. And as you can see, that is hooked together nicely. It flows. It will give you a little bit of a decorative edging too between the squares, which is really nice, but this will also lay flat. And it's if you're making a children's blanket, I like this method. It's very stretchy. It's durable. It'll hold together longer. And then you just, as you can see, you need to make sure when you're hooking these together too that your work is going to line up, which is why I say have one with the border already done, because what you're doing is you're creating that 4th row here, which is why I only have the 3 rows of this white, and then I started my 4th row with the gray, because this is going to act as my 4th row of this granny square. Otherwise your holes would not line up and it would be uneven, and that's a whole nother thing you have to deal with. Let me finish off this corner. Chain 1, crochet into here, 1, 2, 3, and then that's all nice and even. I should have really done 3 rows of the turquoise and then a row of the silver, but I wanted you to see the difference, be able to see the difference in color when it's crocheted together. And then you just carry on the rest of the side like you would the rest of the granny square, because this is now, and you need to go all the way around with this and finish this off, because if you don't, it won't be even. It won't line up with your next addition to your granny square, hooking it together. I really should have had a set hooked. Together so I could show you how to crochet to the second one. But when you're crocheting into if you have a third one here and you're crocheting to complete that square, when you transition from one corner, you just grab this in here, put a slip stitch in there, and then do the same thing we did to hook this together along that bottom row. And then continue on. I knotted my yarn doing all that twisting and turning, excuse me. And then we finish this corner. 2, 3, crochet 2 or chain 2, finish your corner, put your 3 stitches in that corner, 1, 2, 3, chain 1, crochet 3, 1, 2, 3, chain 1, 1, 2, 3, chain 1. And as you can see, when I started this, I only did one set of 3 because we are going to, I did chain 1 already, put our last 3 stitches, 1, 2, 3, and I wanted to show you that when you do this, it doesn't look like it's going to connect, but you're going to chain 2 and pop a stitch in the top of your chain 3 that you did when you started this row after you changed the color. And then I like to put an extra chain in there before I cut it off. It just kind of gives it, if it decides it wants to unravel, you've got that whole chain that needs to be unknotted before the rest of your work will unknot, which is nice. And as you can see, I've got ends all over the place. That is going to be another lesson, how to sew in your ends when you get done all these, because that is a project in its own. That is the completed join. And as you can see, they're even. It doesn't look like it because this one is solid blue, this one is multicolored, but you know, again, I wanted you to be able to see the difference in the chains, the colors between my work and the work that's, you know, but this is very sturdy. It's not going to pull apart. That's method number 1 for hooking a granny square. We're going to set this aside. For this, actually, we're just going to go right ahead and use this too. The next method I'm going to show you is, I need my white yarn. I'm going to use the gray. It's fine. It's 2 different colors. You're going to line these up. I'm going to show you how to single crochet these together. This also is pretty sturdy. Great for kids' blankets. It gives it a little bit of a different texture. It helps to texturize if you like your project a little bit more dimensional. This is a good method to use. It's quicker than the method I just showed you. So you get your 2 granny squares. Sorry, lost my train of thought. That happened. What you're going to do is you're going to get to your color, your yarn. I'm going to make a slip knot. Get your crochet hook in there. Some people can do the slip knot right on their crochet hook. I am not one of those folks. I can't do that. You're going to use whatever method you use to tie in your yarn. I get a slip knot on my hook, and then I just slip stitch the corner together. Now for this one, you're using single crochets. And what I like to do for this corner is I'll pop, after that slip stitch, I will go ahead and put another single crochet in there just to kind of give it a little more grip. Again, your granny squares need to be the same size for this one. So if you're doing a border but then using the single crochet method, they have to be even for this one, like right off the bat. Then what I do is I go in the top of each stitches. You can see, I'll show you once I get it on my hook. You want to go in through those 2 loops that are right there. Oh, my camera, this is a new computer. I'm sorry, I'm not used to this setup yet. And then you want to go into the second square. You yarn over, you've got all that. You got both squares on your hook. You're going to yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through too. That is how we hook them together. And you're just going to repeat that. Go through both of the tops of those stitches on both granny squares, yarn over, pull through 2. Go through 1 square, and make sure you're going through evenly on these squares, like your stitches line up, because if it gets off centered a little bit, you're going to have to pull it or undo it, and it'll make it uneven after a while. So pay attention to which stitches you're going through. If you have to put stitch markers on the top of all of them, it will show you where you need to go. When you get to your chain 1 space in between your clusters, you only chain, the rule for that is if you've only chained 1, you put 1 single crochet in that chain 1 space. If you have chain 2 because you're a tighter crocheter, then you put 2 single crochets. It's 1 single crochet for every chain 1. And you're just going to keep going in the top of both granny square stitches. And you're going to complete your row. I am in a gap again, so we are going to 1 single crochet. And you've done 3 clusters in each of these. So you should have 3 tops that you're going into between each chain space. So that should help you keep track a little bit. Did I go through both of those loops? I think I missed one. There we go. Yarn over, pull through. 1 more stitch in this set. Yarn over, pull through. We're in a chain space. 1 single crochet. Then we're going to go in the top of these 3 at the corner. 1, 2, 3. And then that is how we do that. This again creates a nice edge. It gives it, excuse me, if you're pulling your hook out to show somebody something or to pull it out for a little bit if you plan on keep working, because you don't want to unravel your stuff. But this is how this looks. As you can see, it's still a nice clean line. It is very durable, and it does give it a nice little texture. You can see it gives it like a little rib, which is nice. I mean, again, it's cute for kids' blankets. It's durable. Not as stretchy as Join As You Go. This is all depending on how you like it. Do you want your texture? This has a little bit of texture, but not as much. This is a little bit more fun, I feel like. It depends on how flat you want it to lay too, because this does have a little bubble, and then you do have a right side, wrong side with that, because you can't really see that single crochet where it's uniform here. So that all depends on your level of what you like. The third method I am going to show you is sewing them together, which is going to be fun because I'm up in the air. But for this, I need 2 granny squares again that are the same size. I'm going to get out my darning needle. I'm going to choose one that is not the same color as the yarn I am using. This comes in your kit. If you're letting a child crochet, supervise them with this. It's plastic, but it still has a bit of a tip. It is not, it's blunt, but it can still be dangerous. So supervise your children if you're letting them do this part. Generally, when I crochet these together or sew these together, let me find a better way. I didn't think this one through. I didn't think this one through. I can do this. You match these up. If you're going to do fronts to fronts, I mean, this is crocheted around, so there really is no front to back. But there are some granny square patterns where there is a visible front and there is a visible back. You want to make sure if you're using this method that the fronts are facing together, because this is like being sewn into the back of the pattern. We are going to get some yarn. We are going to cut off a length of yarn. You don't need to have it attached to the skein because we're just sewing. You are going to thread your yarn into your darning needle, just like you're gonna sew. Match these up. I can do this like this. Then what you want to do is you want to start again in a corner. You want to go through, you're not going through the whole stitch. You want to sew this together so it's invisible. So what we do is we go through the 2 loops that are face close to each other. Can you see that? Where there's still a hoop here and there's still a loop there. And you pull this through. Not all the way because this is kind of fleet. I mean, you can knot this. If you're going to do it, give it a little bit of a tail so you can sew it in and it's not loose. You don't want too short of an end. It will unravel in the washer if you plan on being able to toss this in the washer. And just over time, the stitches tend to come loose on the knots. So always leave an end. Always sew it in and weave it through. Just a way to protect your work, you know, for making it last, especially if you're making blankets for kids. I made quite a few blankets for children. They get washed a lot. They will eventually fall apart. The more it's used, the more it's going to fall apart. It is yarn. Okay, so we're just going to, again, back loop to front loop. It's the 2 neighboring loops. Pull through. This isn't very invisible. And then you're going to go through the opposite side because we're just weaving back and forth. You are going to be able to see mine a little bit in the beginning because I knotted it, but we're just going to weave these back and forth, staying in the 2 knots that are the 2 loops that are closest to each other. We're not going through all 4, remember, we're just going to the 2 neighboring on the inside. This creates an invisible join for those who don't want people to know you joined. And normally when you do this, you're going to sew this through with the same color yarn you used to make your border. Again, I am using a different color just so you can see what I'm doing. And we're going to continue. Normally a lot faster at this, but I don't want to go too fast. I want you to be able to see. Loop to loop. You can't see it that way. There we go. Loop to loop. Oop, my tail got caught in there. Loop to loop. Again, my tail got stuck. We are almost at that corner. Now, if you plan on sewing all of these together, you can do quite a few in a row, line them up, do it all with one really long piece of thread. Because the less tie-ins you have, the better, the sturdier it's going to be. You don't want a bunch of little pieces and tails to have to work through. But one more, and as you can see, that came out evenly. I am at my end. And now that we've finished that, you are going to be able to see my stitching. But if this were the same color yarn, you would really not be able to see how that is sewn together. And then you can always, if you sewed it loose, you can give it a little tug. Kind of tug on both ends because I did tie this in. I can tug this. And it kind of disappears a little bit. See, this is where we sewed it together. That's why I said this is the back side. But if you flip it around to the front, it's less visible. You cannot really see that gray through the front of that work. Like you can see it here where we weaved in and out. That's just your basic weave. Those are, sorry, let me scratch. Those are the 3 methods that I have used to crochet hook granny squares together. This is the single crochet them together method. This is the join as you go method. And this is the sew it together method. The sew it together method, you can use that for blankets. I have done it. But that's really good if you're doing something outside of a blanket, like the granny square Afghan. I've seen those. They're absolutely gorgeous. I have made beach bags. You can crochet granny squares together so many different ways. If you would like some patterns, stop by the library. I got plenty. Again, if you want to join me on my crochet adventures, we are going to hold these videos once a month. Next month's video, we are going to start a scarf. It's going to start getting colder. And if you have never crocheted before and you're watching these granny square tutorials thinking this is a little bit too much, a little too advanced, this scarf class is for you. It will teach you the basics of single crochet and how to change rows, how to turn your work. It's a really good foundation if you're just starting out. That class, that video tutorial is definitely for you. Stop by, come get your kits. We have plenty of these all ready to go. And if you don't want to crochet, stop by and pick up an art craft kit to go. Those are great also. We would love for you to do that. Thank you for joining me today. I will see you next month for our scarf project start. I will walk you through that. We will get started on our scarf, and I can't wait to see some completed projects. If you make projects using my videos, please take pictures of it. Send it to me. The director's email is on the website. Send us pictures. Thank you very much, and thank you for your comment. Have a good day.